Do you eat while shitting? Welcome all of the rest of you back. And happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Christmas.
Festivus, don't forget Festivus.
Yeah, Festivus. Let's air some grievances. Let's just dive right in.
That's probably the best one is Festivus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so after a little hiatus, welcome back to the Jamal and Joe show. We ended up taking a week off on accident. I think it was actually my fault, but here we are.
No fault.
Go.
No fault. I noticed you got a new flag back there. That's fancy.
Yes, I got a new flag. So
you making the playoffs because it looks. It looks like a playoff kind of flag.
So what it says here, it's hard to see, but it says made exclusively for PSL owners. So they send us personal seat license.
Nice. Season ticket, folks.
Yeah, season ticket. So every year they send us this is something good a year.
I was wondering if it was going to say looking forward to next year, because I know you were talking about how they were mailing it in already.
Where is
playing for draft picks?
Yeah, so they sent me a card, and I don't know where it is. It's in one of my drawers, but the card said that exact same thing. It said, "Looking forward to seeing you next year," because I rolled over my season tickets to next year.
Okay, nice.
And it was a handwritten card. It was like somebody wrote it with a pen. It wasn't like.
Did they go sorry? I haven't followed as much as I usually do. Are you guys just scraping the bottom of the barrel right now?
We're 4-8. Not nearly as bad as some of the other teams. We were hoping to be really bad because we won.
That's 500 ball, right? That's playoff worthy. There's teams that have made playoffs less than that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. The worst thing that could happen to us is to make the playoff, because that means we'd be picking in the 15 range, and we won't be picking in the top 10. Now, the Jets are almost guaranteed the number one pick. They're 0-11 or 0-12 right now. So they're almost guaranteed to get the first pick.
I saw a thing that said, this maybe makes you feel better. It said Cam Newton is no longer a MVP kind of quarterback, or MVP, but an elite series.
Yeah, man.
Quarterback.
He's having a tough year.
Does that make you happy? Do you agree with that? Have you?
I like Cam. I've got a Cam jersey. He was here from his rookie year, but injuries caught up to him. He had COVID, and he's never really been the same. It's he missed a couple weeks with COVID. He's been hurt the last couple of years, and football is one of those games where it's going to catch up to you at some point. You hit that many times, and it's going to catch up to you. And it's just whether or not your organization is smart enough to kind of move on before that kind of takes a toll on your body, because it's going to come for everybody. Tom Brady.
It's gonna come for some a lot sooner than others. Like you mentioned, Tom Brady right there. His whole style of play is, I'm just gonna throw it on the ground if you get close to me.
Same thing with Drew Brees.
Yeah, but that's how they play for 25 years or whatever. Versus, I don't think Cam has been playing for that long, and he's already going to be checking out soon because
he's in his 10th year, and he plays a physical style of football.
But that's my whole point. Is that if you play that kind of game, your days are going to be a lot more limited than somebody who does not rely on running around to be successful. Good luck in sucking enough to not make the playoffs. And
we're definitely not going to make the playoffs. We're not mathematically out of it, but we're not going to make the playoffs.
You're working on it.
and that's the thing. Here's the thing. This is the year that we got a rookie head coach. our best player, Christian McCaffrey, is hurt, hasn't played in like 5 weeks. This is a perfect year for no fans to be there. Expectations are low. We'll be ready to get back at him next year. So I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. Well, we will all be stoked to get back at it next year.
I know, man.
Yeah. So
speaking of next year, man, what are your predictions for post January 20th? You think people are going to start to adhere to the rules, or do you think people are going to rebel against anything that Joe Biden does?
I think there's going to be an awful lot of squawking about like, oh my God, now suddenly there's a pandemic that we should be worrying about, and why hasn't Joe Biden done anything yet? I mean, there's been over 300,000 people dead, and Joe Biden hasn't fixed it yet, and the economy is in shambles, and why hasn't he fixed that yet either?
Yep.
And you know what? And at that point, it's like, who cares? I'm not interested in hearing what those folks have to say, because I mean, they don't argue in good faith, so I can't. Why argue with them?
Yeah. So one of the things I want to talk about is kind of the attitude of some people. And for those of you who are not in North Carolina, North Carolina has gone into a modified lockdown, meaning that the governor has asked people to be home by 10 o'clock and off the streets from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Asked or demanded? That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
You can't make a demand of an almighty American to do anything. So you ask, and then, well, they're just suggesting, so fuck it, I'm not going to do any of it.
And you have people who are, for example, let me just say it. There's a group in North Carolina that is organizing something called Trash the Mask, Holiday Dinner and Shopping Friday, which sounds like the worst possible thing in the world when we had 3,000 deaths today in the country, more than, Pearl Harbor, more than 9/11 today, like the last 5 days have been the 5 most deadliest days in the country. And this group wants to put on a thing called Trash the Mask. And let me just read something. Let me just read some of these details.
Who funds that, by the way? Like, can we Google that? Like who funds? Who is the organizer behind Trash the Mask? It
was on Facebook. They put their names on there. I'm not going to say their names, but they put
fine. I was just wondering if it's like, I was just wondering. So who's such a big fan of that idea?
So it's 2 people, and then it's a group called Trump Event Images, whatever that means. So it says, this is a mask-free dinner at the food court, followed by a shopping event this coming Friday evening. Meet by Firehouse Subs in the Concord Mills food court. In order to find each other, I will be wearing a blue Trump ball cap. This other person will have on a Superman t-shirt. We will eat dinner and then head out as a group within the mall at 7:15 to various stores we want to shop at. Invite your friends as you can, even if they don't need to do Christmas shopping. The event is shareable.
But I mean, the stores are open, so I mean, that's
well, the store.
What do you do?
People in with masks, and reading on, they're hoping to create some sort of confrontation. That's what they're hoping.
Well, hooray for them! And again, illustrates a great problem with the internet: is that suddenly 2 people with a website or a Facebook page can seem somehow of any importance. They're just 2 yahoos, kind of similar to what's going on here. but I don't expect that anybody gives a shit about what we have to say. You know what I mean? I don't feel like we're
right.
we're not rallying to the cause of I mean, that's anyway. So,
but I mean,
chalk one up for
here's the deal:
the internet.
What they are doing, I declare is dangerous.
Yes.
So
I would agree, and I would
in
agree
this day and age,
it doesn't fall under free speech, right? That's akin to fire in the theater. You're endangering people with crazy talk that is not based in facts and reality. Or
so here's what's going to happen: if you've got a group of 15 or 20 people, how many ever people they are, in the food court at the mall without a mask, security is going to come over and say, put on a mask or leave. That's what these people want. Then,
right
out of the mall, someone's going to call the news, the media is going to show up, and then they're going to get exactly what they want. They're going to say that their liberties are being, insulted.
It's private property, so I mean, you would think, but nobody will give a shit about that.
Exactly.
So sorry, that's just a weird, law. It's weird how they get stuck on private property. Like, I mean, these same folks who are my freedoms and all this are the same ones who are all about my private property, right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The mall's private property, just like Twitter and Facebook and whatever else is private business that can tell you to piss off. It's not free speech time. It's my company's platform, and if you want to use it, then, which is why Facebook and Twitter like that are complicit in all this. If they're not banning, putting the big hammer down. I mean, at the biggest, sorry to rant, the biggest thing that Twitter does is they put like a little thing underneath all the bullshit claims. I mean, they're not even, just outright like, what else do you call it? What the president is doing now? I mean, and has been. I mean, he's been lying the whole time. But I mean, these are like crazy. No, I won, and calling people to violence, and like the most that you get is like a little red. Oh, this is a disputed claim. And you're like, no, this is a little more serious than a disputed claim.
Well, the rumor is that they're going to ban him once he's out of office.
Which that's all swell and good, but I'm talking about the damage he's doing currently. Right. And how they seem to be, we're so helpless. Fuck that. I mean, that's my third F. But I mean, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. It is your private company that you can tell anybody, even the president, to piss off if you don't abide by our rules, which he's clearly not. So, but again, I default to who owns Twitter, not Americans. So maybe they don't have American interests in mind. Who owns Facebook? Does the Zuck even have majority ownership of Facebook?
He owns 60%.
60. Okay. And it is
between 57 and 60 from what I saw on the sites that report on such things.
And then the remaining roughly 40% is divided up among how many people? Is that billions of people around the world all buying bits of stock, or
well, it's a private company, so
it's not even done that way. So it's not even on the stock market.
It's not even on the stock market. So it's well, no, it is public. I'm sorry, it did go public. He is the majority stock owner. He's the majority stock owner.
I want to say I saw stories about people, and again here I'll go with the whole. People are saying. People I heard. About how much funding Zuckerberg got, like, I don't know, it was like in 2009 or 10 from, I believe it was Russian folks in the earlier days of Facebook.
And
he received like a lot of money at that time, I'm sure that doesn't have anything to do with anything though.
Probably not.
Mm.
But so I look at what's going on. So in North Carolina, the coronavirus spike, we are like March, April level of spikeage.
Mm.
And I think that's going on all over the country. And to me, to have a group of people to put out a Facebook event asking people to come out and eat and walk around the mall without a mask, the people that would do that are probably the people that aren't wearing a mask anyway. And those are the people that I would probably higher risk for the virus. And if I'm out trying to get something from my wife or my mom, and I'm just trying to go in and out of the mall, and here's this group of yahoos that could potentially get me sick, kind of makes me upset.
Well, for sure. I mean, that, we've made comparisons many times about, the different repercussions folks face based on the things that the wrongs they're perceived to have done, i.e., I don't know, you sold some illegal cigarettes, you get choked out on the sidewalk,
right?
Versus you might be literal plague rats.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're going to see the full military regalia of police response to these guys is my thing. I'm pretty sure we won't. You're a betting guy. You like to gamble. I know you do. I know you do. What do you wager that any pepper spray will get used against anybody? Well, you guys you guys don't really have the Antifas there, right? So any other counter protesters, you only have those folks. So I mean, that's got to be tough for all the cops in that area. They never get a chance, I mean, unless BLM has like a freaking move, has a freaking parade or a protest. That's the only time that gear gets broken out, I guess, is what I'm saying. Anyway, so literal plague rats posting their plague rat schedule. I don't know. I guess as the mall property owner, I mean, they've got to see that and maybe not be thrilled with it. I don't know. Maybe they're like, hey, any press is good press. I don't know. I didn't know the mall. I didn't even know the malls are freaking open. So
yeah. This was supposed to happen today at 6:30, and
so how'd it go?
I don't know.
No, okay.
I don't know. I mean,
but how are malls even still open? There's a few hurdles I'm trying to get over here as I'm playing.
Yeah, no, our North Carolina hasn't been completely locked down like some of the places in the West. The lockdown we have now is everybody's got to be in the house by 10 o'clock. So
that's your lockdown.
Yeah, everybody off the streets.
Is a 10 p.m. curfew?
Yeah, 10 p.m. curfew.
Okay.
Yep, 10 p.m. curfew.
And so how's that working out?
Bars, it started today. Today's the first day of it.
So up till now, there was no even 10 p.m. curfew. It was just life as normal?
Anywhere that served alcohol had to be closed by 11. So all of our bars have been closed by 11 for the last few months.
Other than that, though, carrying on like normal.
Just everybody's got to wear a mask if you're indoors.
Okay, right. Okay. Well,
yeah. So we've had a mask mandate all along. So anywhere inside, any bar, restaurant, store, convenience store, gas station, you have to wear a mask. So that the mask mandate's been in since the beginning. Whenever they figured out that,
and there's still a lot of states that are not doing that. Even
like Florida. Florida, there's no mask mandate. You get in the deep South, and they think it's that.
But again, I thought Florida was not the South.
Well, it's
now you're screwing with me here.
Yeah, but I mean, they look at a mask down there as
full sign of weakness, and
yes, exactly.
and you must. I got all
you're
sorts.
Sheep.
I got all. Well, I was going to go with a lot worse slurs than that. But yes, okay. I believe it.
Yeah. I think if you wear a mask,
and those are the same guys, and those are the same folks who are like, I don't like it when folks try to politicize the virus. And you're like, totally.
Right.
Okay.
And then if you look at some of the highest death rates in cases, it's in states without the mask mandate. So it's just kind of a quinky dink,
No way.
Yeah.
But I mean, god dang, even here where we have had, the mask mandate all along, we've had probably a little stricter lockdown, I guess. But I mean, the suburban rural town, I don't know, man. I mean, I see full restaurants open and people dining in and all of that. So I guess it's only so shut down. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem. I mean, that's the problem.
I saw a neat sign out near on the way to Mount Hood. It said, Oregon needs balance of power. and that was highlighted on some nice plywood in some dude's yard. And I mean, those folks they're just everywhere, And like we've talked about, the running discussion we have, that whether or not it's good or bad that they, let their whole flag fly. I see the merits of letting them identify themselves, because just in case you were curious and you go, I bet they, and then they do it and you're like, yeah, okay, you're totally, you're definitely that guy. Yeah. But even like whatever it was yesterday or today, where whatever it was, 150 congressmen signed on to some ridiculous idea about what was it, Texas seceding?
It was Texas suing. So here's the funny thing. Texas suing 4 other states in the way they held their elections. So here's the ironic thing.
So free states' rights and all this.
Yes.
And the big but Texas is gonna out Texas them all and tell all the other states how to do it.
Yes. And so
Texas, I'm gonna get my 4th one out of the way. Texas can kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And here's the thing. Republicans have always been states' rights, states' rights, states' rights.
Yeah, I know.
States' rights. You can't tell me how to do anything in my state. And now they're suing to say these other states can't do elections the way they. And so the Supreme Court basically shut them down and laughed at them.
That was today that they that happened tonight.
Like that was just a few hours ago.
Yeah.
Supreme Court. And so the funny thing is the Supreme Court is heavily Trump laden right now, and they've shut them down twice.
And these are these are the biggest shutdowns. These were supposed to be the rulings that they were even put there for in the first place, as far as he was concerned.
Yes.
But what I think is that they were put there for bigger reasons, not to say dumpy ass. It was to do things like get rid of abortion and gay rights and things like that. Those are the reasons that those guys are there. And that hasn't happened. But I'm still shocked. That they're willing to burn their golden boy Donnie. I mean, he is. I mean, I don't know. So here's another bet for you. Do all the Trumpulkins just wander off into the night after January, whatever, and they tune into the new Trump dumbass network so they can get their fill of him raging on? And does he just disappear into the raging quiet night?
No.
He's already planning on 2024 to keep the grip going. You can donate at youradumbass.com.
Here's the thing, though. If you are not a Republican, I think the best thing for someone who's not a Republican is for Trump to run in 2024, because he is so divisive and he is so polarizing that he'll hold on to that 30-40% that we've talked about, his base. I think he'll lose the rest of the Republicans who are probably more moderate, probably more akin
You
to.
really think they'll go more moderate?
Well, I'm saying that 35 to 40% is going to be there. He's going to hold on because basically,
that's a huge number, by the way. I mean,
it is a huge number. It's a huge
gigantic number.
But the thing is, after 4 years of Joe Biden being president, I can honestly say I think things will be better. So
yes, I agree.
Trump is going to run on in 4 years is going to be really old and tired because people are going to go,
yeah, but
and I might not like Joe Biden, but the things that you're saying, I don't see.
But you play the classics, you play the hits, you know, and Republicans have made a living off of shit and ruin the entire country while you have power. And then when you get booted out, spend all that time bitching about how the Democrats haven't fixed it yet.
Right.
And the Democrats spend all their time picking up the pieces, trying to fix just a complete shit show. And they do amazing jobs of it. Honestly, I mean, what happened in Obama's swing of term is crazy. I mean, what he started with and what he ended with, was remarkable.
Right.
And same thing, what Trump started with, and then what he shit out after half the amount of time.
Right.
I mean, has left. I mean, it is just remarkable. And so I don't know.
I just think 4 years from now, and I guess this is the hopeful part of me. I think 4 years from now, the Trump rhetoric is going to seem really old and tired.
It does to me and you already, and it always has, but it resonates so hard with some folks. It obviously does, even if it's not him. Granted, he's the most charismatic, and I don't know how people find that fucker charm. Anyway. That many people are buying into a hateful idea because they just they want somebody else's life to suck more than theirs. And that's what he brings them. And somebody else will come along that will be more capable politically and, you know, maybe a little bit easier pill to swallow for everybody. And that person will get that person will be.
Well, I honestly think it's going to depend on how Joe Biden does, right? If Joe Biden does like Barack Obama did, Barack Obama got reelected. I think if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can come out of the box hot and get some things done and get this vaccine issued, you know, in a legit way, and people start better and the economy starts turning around, I think it'll be harder for the Trump message to resonate because
for sure, I agree.
About this. Barack Obama was elected, and I was stunned. I was shocked. Right, that was something my pops never thought he would see ever. Right, Obama had a good first 4 years. Right, and then he got reelected, and everybody said, okay, so we had our first black president, but, you know, when he goes for reelection, it'll be business as usual. Somebody else, and he got reelected. And to me, I was shocked. I was like, wow, you know, I never thought the country would be ready for a black president at this time. And then we reelected him. And I was like, okay, all right. So the people who all of a sudden in 2016 were Trump, those people were around during the Obama years, right? And they were kind of hidden away. Trump kind of made it okay for them to come out. And we realized, oh my God, these people have been here forever and we never knew it because they were just kind of doing their own thing. And now we know what to watch out for. And now we know that those people are there, where during the Obama years, it was easy for us to think that maybe we had moved past some of that.
So what are you watching out for? I mean, that's the thing. Are you trying to appease these people? Are you trying to bring them over to your side? Because I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that anybody's going to be successful doing that.
You know, I don't know that you're going to try to appease them or bring them over to your side, but I think, and this is where I come from this, an enemy defined is an enemy that you can fight against. You know, thing of like guerrilla warfare from like Vietnam, you know, it was the first time where your enemy was hiding in a tree or hiding in a bush and they would jump out and attack you. You know,
see, but I got to say, man, I mean, that's the kind of messed up thing about all this is that, I mean, we're talking about like our fellow Americans as enemies, and that's no bueno. I mean, that's no good, you know, and I don't think that all of a sudden everybody's going to, you know, come together and hug each other. But I think that they can, you know, if we can move it all closer to a less, you know, us and them. I mean, like I say, we're supposed to all have common goals and want to achieve them together versus consistently going in opposite directions.
No, I agree. And that's what I say.
But I don't know how to do that.
Joe Biden's first 100 days are going to be so important. And this goes back to something you said a few episodes ago, where you said that Joe should come in and just kind of run roughshod over everybody like Trump did. And, you know, say, hey, you did it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to, you know, be a bigger bully as you have. And one of the things that you kind of took issue with was that the Democrats always come in as the peacemakers and say, we're going to be the adult in the room and we're going to fix it. And, you know, you were saying that it's probably time for the Democrats to come in like the Republicans and say, nope, we're going to do what we want to do when we want to do it, how we want to do it, and go that way. And I think if he does that, that is going to lay the groundwork for a Trump 2024. And it might not be what progressives and Democrats want to hear, but I think Joe Biden does have to come in as the peacemaker and the adult in the room and say, we had a guy in here for the last 4 years that did what he wanted and didn't follow the rule of law. I'm going to reestablish law and order and do it the right way.
So then what do you do when McConnell stonewalls you right off the bat and you don't get shit done for 4 years? Cool. Then where do you go?
But here's the thing. The margin is going to be so close that I don't know what's going to be able to be stopped.
Don't get me wrong. If Georgia, I'm still rooting. Yeah. I mean, that's not until January, right?
January 5th. If the Democrats win Georgia, then there is no Stonewall. There is no Mitch.
But assuming that there is, because that was the thought train I was running on. Is it McConnell is still the linchpin that apparently our entire country can hang on that one dude, and he can stop everything from happening, from not just from happening, from even being voted on. I mean, that's crazy. It's not. That's what I'm trying to wrap my own mind around. Is it's not that he has the power to stop, you know, time. It's just he has the power to stop our democracy. He has the power to stop a vote, and that is apparently just cool. And I don't get that. I don't know what, how, why, or any way that can be addressed and reformed. I don't know if I'm alone in thinking that it should be, but damn, I mean, if the whole idea is that we're all 300 and something million of us are supposed to pay attention and be involved and vote, and then those people are supposed to take our vote and go act on it and keep our best interests in mind and write laws and enact them and enforce them in a way that is in the same interest. But then, oh, fuck, there's this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it all grinds to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an amazing ability. And I just, did the founding fathers have that in mind when they wrote the whole damn thing?
You got to remember, he stonewalled Trump for 2 years, right? Trump wanted to get rid of Obamacare, and McConnell didn't like the way Trump was doing it, so he stonewalled him there. You know, Obamacare is still on the books partly because of Mitch McConnell, in spite of what he was trying to do.
I mean, so broken clock, cool, but I mean, but there's, I mean, I don't know how many pieces of legislation are just sitting on his desk that have never gone anywhere. He takes pride. I mean, I've seen the clips of him taking pride in the fact that nothing gets done, and he's the guy that is making nothing happen, and he's super proud of it. And
there's a reason why he's majority leader, because he's in a very safe state where he's not going to go anywhere unless he decides he's going to go somewhere. You never see a majority leader from a swing state. It's always from a deep blue state or a deep red state.
Right. I mean, I get the strategies, but like I say, I mean, the everything, you know, it's not just one thing. I mean, like so many things to even be voted on can't even be voted on because he refuses to bring them up to a vote. But then, here's whatever it was, 700 and something billion, sorry, for the military. Yeah. We'll just express this baby right through because we all get a piece of this action.
Right. Yeah. And it went through veto proof too.
So because that's the thing. I mean, that tells you everything. I mean, the one that lines the most pockets.
Yeah.
Suddenly every wheel turns, you know,
right.
God dang. So yeah, I don't know. That would be on my short, I guess on my short list of somehow reforming our system. Cause I do believe, I mean, our system is in need of massive reform and you know, I get it. I maybe not all of the ideas I have. I mean, I'm up to chatting about them, interpretation. Jesus, it's not written in stone, but we need massive change. I mean, our Constitution, dude, it can be changed. It can be changed again, and it can be changed again after that. And it needs to be. So we'll see. But like I say, I mean, the priorities in this country for the people that are running it, I mean, it's evident, you know, when it's, you know, healthcare or when it's education or when it, I don't know, something maybe not as pressing like a pandemic. I mean,
right.
All of that is stalled out, but yet, the military comes a knocking. Dude, I mean, they jump out of bed to get to the office to vote for that one.
Oh yeah. I got somebody like playing hot rod outside my house. I don't know if you heard that.
I can't hate them, you know, entirely. I did the same thing earlier, so I learned kind of later in this vehicle ownership, but I sure enjoy it like just a kid. But you know, if I do like the big rev, it'll kind of go pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now. Hey, so I got a little early buy or sell for you. Want to know your opinion. So it's well known that you are a regulations guy. You like regulations.
Yep. Love it.
Do you think when it comes specifically to the environment that we will be able to undo some of the things that Trump has done? And is some of the damage that he's done to the environment repairable or not? Buy or sell?
Well, that would be kind of a follow-up to our earlier conversation a moment ago of my idea of what he should do, what Biden should do when he gets in. You know, does he try to extend the olive branch and work with the other side and all that, and then get fucking stonewalled by McConnell, you ain't gonna get very far. You ain't. And so then I would say that's probably a big sell. However, if you took a more, well, what's now a traditional stance that's been established over the last 4 years, you could probably get more done. So I don't know. We'll see which way he goes, I guess.
Do you think that if he takes that second approach, hold right to have a kind of strongman candidate like a Trump in 4 years to run against him, versus playing the more pragmatic role and kind of neutering that idea of a strongman can get it done? I mean, do you think there's
dude, there is no way you're neutering them of any idea of a strong man is appealing. That is what they run on. That is what got them this far. And the only reason that it flamed out now was, I mean, they're remarkably incompetent for getting as far as they got. And that's also, to me, a bit suspicious, because for as remarkably stupid as a lot of them seem, they sure have made it a long ways. You know, so maybe they just got really lucky. Better to be lucky than good.
So, I mean, the idea of the strong man worked, but it was the wrong strong man, right?
Well, not necessarily. It was the right one to get whatever they wanted to get done, which was many, many things. I mean, they overturned regulation after regulation. They installed hundreds of judges at everything from the local level on up. Those are the ones that make policy. You know, those are the ones that enforce the policy. They got an awful lot done. And then a couple Supreme Court justices, or 3.
Right.
They got a ton done. And now they throw his ass away because they're like, well, you're no longer useful right now. Whether or not they embrace him for the next 4 years or not, I don't know. I mean, the people that are follow him that hard are stupid enough to follow him wherever he goes.
Agree.
And even if he gets booted off of Twitter, they'll follow him at donstwitter.com, you know? I mean,
right.
Whatever. And I don't personally feel like they should strategize in fear of the response they get in 4 years. So, I mean, I know that's historically what you do. That's the historic game of politics. But, dude, the last 4 years have shown that a bit of an adjustment needs to be made on the historic views of politics, because the other side ain't playing that way. And to me, it seems naive to continue playing by that way. I mean, that is straight up Lucy and goddamn Charlie Brown and the football. I mean, that is clear as day to me, personally. That's my view on it. I mean, I don't know. Others may view that the system still works. Right. I guess. So, no. And today was a great example. The system apparently still works. There was a check and balance. The Supreme Court ruled against the president's crazy claims. So
twice.
That was nice.
So you look at like AOC and you look at the squad, and they are like unapologetic progressive, unapologetically pushing Biden and Harris to go far left to the progressive angle, and not look back. Now, the thing that I worry about with that is the people on the Democratic side kind of saw Trump as the strong man and the bully, and more people in the history of the country voted for Joe Biden. Joe Biden got the most votes of any presidential candidate in the history of the country. Because of the way Trump acted, it galvanized people against Trump.
It galvanized people for Trump, dude. You're acting like nobody. You're acting like nobody voted for Trump, dude. How?
No.
70-something million voted for him. I mean,
Trump got the second most votes ever.
He didn't turn off that many people. I mean,
my point is, if Biden goes heavy strongman, does that then galvanize even more people against Biden the next time? Because some people,
I think you pick and choose where you go strongman. Fine. In a way, maybe not. Because if one thing the last 4 years has shown, the American people have memory of a goldfish.
Right.
I mean, I could take my dick out right now. And I mean, I personally would get flambéed for it. And nobody would ever forget. And it would get thrown in my face forever. But it sure seems like other folks are able to take their dick out and put it right on my forehead. Right. And it's good to go. I mean, right. And so I just like there's no way you're reaching a certain core group, and I think it is just an absolute waste of time to even try. I think as far as any kind of moderation, here's the thing. To me, the entire system has shifted so far right that anything that's viewed as even left of center now is somehow viewed as wildly progressive. In my personal view, like the entire system has shifted so hard to the right that, I mean, the idea of healthcare for people, communism, socialism, all these isms I don't understand, but I know I don't like. Certainly, that's what that is. I like I said, that's that's why I personally am frustrated by it, because I don't feel like it's that progressive of an agenda. It's a relative to the shit catastrophe F that we have going on now. Yes, okay, fine, it's progressive. Historically, it is not. It's not I mean, it is a maybe a bit left of center agenda to say things as crazy as public health care and public school are free. Ta-da. That's not that's not the government takes over all your businesses and now it's nike.usa.gov.com, whatever the shit. It's not, I mean, goddamn. So, and by the way, I mean, subsidies and handouts. Let's go over a few. Since all those bootstrappy shit kickers that are proud to drive their trucks that look down on all those city folk getting their Obama phones and their refrigerators and their welfares, but yet these same people graze their cattle on federal land. They get paid by the government to not grow anything at all.
Oh, I heard an NPR program on this because we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And they are going to end that. So the speculation is the new EPA chief and the new chief of the Farm Bureau is going to be getting away from the subsidies. They've been talking about that. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, because those people in those big trucks that, get an additional check for putting up an additional mailbox without doing anything, when that goes away, it's going to be interesting to see what they say.
Oh, it'll be the deep state or something. I don't know. Well, surely. Right. I mean, they'll say, hold on a second. Let me tune into Trump.com. I'll be back to tell you my opinion in a minute.
Yeah.
And so Again, I don't care if they want to eventually get on board because they see the light, then fine, groovy. But as far as like the sea change that needs to happen, I mean,
no, I don't think they'll ever come over to the other side. I just think that
no, I'm not talking. I forget them. I'm talking about the change that has felt, and to me, it has felt like there should be some massive change that has always been like just on the horizon for a long time. Whether that was when you were a kid and you thought about jetpacks,
right,
and flying cars, or whether it's when you were a kid and you heard about the year 2020, you didn't think about having to worry about a plague,
right?
And there just seems to be like this, big dynamic shift. Like the Industrial Revolution was a big dynamic shift, and there seems to be that potential that has gotten stalled out or never exploited. I don't know. Because again, those same folks that you mentioned, all the farmers that won't be farming, they aren't farming now. They're just getting paid not to farm. All those folks, all the coal industry folks, everybody worries about, oh my God, the coal industry. Gosh, if only there were some new industries to go to work for. If only, like say our entire transportation system was going to change to something new and different.
Right.
If only our entire power grid was about to change to something new and different.
I mean, you can look at that. I think that's where you need to start. Like burning coal, there needs to be a slogan. Burning coal is so like 1800s. When we didn't know any better and that's all we had, we burned coal. There are so many different options for energy and fuel other than coal, other than oil. We just have to be brave enough to take that step and start to develop these things.
That's not bravery. It's the folks that are, dude, those industries have massive clout. They're the ones that have built this whole thing. It's like they're not giving that up quietly.
Right.
I mean, and they are the ones. They're the second phone call after the military that Congress critters will actually take. So
big oil, big coal, big
right. So some of those companies, they may go away, but their workers won't, and they'll need a new thing to do. Fine. We've got lots to do. If only somebody could come up with any sort of plan and, initiative to get something done. But again, if we go through the normal channels, which are all going to be just stonewalled by ye old Mitch McConnell, then nothing will get done. And our entire country will continue to crumble. I know the highways around Kentucky might be fancy, but they ain't in the rest of this country, and bridges are falling apart and everything else. But yet at the same time, I watched 3 different rocket launches this week. That seems hopeful and looking towards the future and building something bigger and better and neater and whatever. But, they're not having to go through Mitch McConnell to go get that done. They're just
private industry. What's your opinion on the Starlink system?
It's a cool. I mean, break it down for folks.
So basically, what Elon is doing in SpaceX is they're launching 15 to 60 satellites each launch, and they're putting them in low Earth orbit. Say that 10 times fast. And it's basically going to be like a halo around the globe of these satellites, thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit. That's going to provide broadband internet for everyone essentially. And if you're really honest about it, this is a logistics thing, right? Because ships at sea can't get internet, right? Planes in the air can't get internet. This is going to benefit ships at sea more than anybody else. It's gonna create logistical corridors around the world for ships at sea.
Interesting.
Right? I was reading something on this, and a lot of the funding that he's getting is from big logistic companies who can't get internet in parts of the world where there's no service, right? You look at
it's so hilarious because the way they sell that shit is here's John and Becky. They live in buttfuck North Dakota and they can't get the internet, but now they can because thanks to Starlink, we love you.
Oh, no, that's a byproduct. But think of it this way.
So good.
Think of it this way. Look at the logistical upside of what they're doing in Brazil and the Amazon, right?
Hold on a second. The logistical upside. What are they doing in the Brazil and Amazon?
They're raping it.
Okay. So the logistical upside of that.
No, I'm not saying it's for the good of everybody. I'm just saying for Elon and his backers and his funders, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm taking a ship with Brazilian lumber on it from Brazil and I'm trying to take it to Europe.
Yep.
I'm basically operating on 1600s technology to get it from point A to point B.
I get the draw. I had never even considered.
Oh yeah.
The maritime aspect of it. I was only thinking of it from like I said, the only things I'd even seen of it were the whole here's Tim and Susan.
Tim and Becky. Yeah.
And they live in shithole Washington.
Right.
And they can't get the internet, but now they can. So
but see, that's the way you can sell it. But that's the way
you can sell that's what's so damn beautiful about it. It's like, oh, and by the way, it's all just for global navigation.
Yeah, but think about.
Well, they want to have like autonomous ships, right? I mean, dude, that's what it's probably leading to, right? Autonomous shipping. I mean, because they want to do autonomous trucking. Yes. Why wouldn't they do autonomous shipping? You know.
I tell you, I did research on this before I brought.
Because again, it's not like it's got to be perfect. It's just got to be as good or better than the existing system. And dude, I saw some video the other day of them losing like an entire cargo ship. I mean, dude, that was a lot of containers that got swept right off into the ocean.
Right. And think about this way: if you've got legitimate, sustainable internet. You've got your weather systems. You've got everything. You can see the storms coming before you can see it. The maritime aspect of it. So not only the maritime aspect of it, but if I am doing some building in a third world country that obviously does not have internet, then I've got Starlink that I can now get maps and pinpoint accuracy. I can do a lot more things in these areas where there are very little regulations. That's going to be a lot easier to do with internet, right?
Exploit some African resources.
Exploit everything. Now think about it this way. I can now take my autonomous miner vehicles into caves and into sides of mountains in Africa where I don't really want to put my people because they could be at risk, but I can put these autonomous vehicles to do the things that I need to do. And
I don't think China gives a shit about putting their people at risk, but you know.
Well, I know, but outside of China, point with this Starlink, like
and even just from the idea of like the global mapping of it. I mean, the globe has been pretty well mapped. I mean, I would like to think. I'm curious. What amount of the globe has been mapped? Like Google Maps obviously is amazing, And satellites, I mean, are flying. I mean, you gotta think 100% of it, but to like what detail, you know? But I don't know. I mean, shit, those satellites flying overhead can see whatever it is, like a golf ball. So I guess it's all been super detailed and super mapped.
But this is going to be mapping to a whole nother level. This is going to be mapping every single corner of the planet. And it's going to be beaming up and down and back and forth all the time. Because if you think of the way the internet works and satellite works, you're sending a signal from the ground up to the air and back down to the ground, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be, you know, like the astronomers worry that these satellites are going to block the ability to see stars because there's going to be so many of them and they're going to move and shift back and forth.
Are they going to be like blocking the damn sunlight?
Potentially. There's some material that won't allow that to happen, but potentially it could.
Oh, well, you know, all we got to do is rest easy that Elon has everything in mind and
Oh, I mean, of course he's altruistic,
but
right?
but I mean, dude, I mean, obviously it got signed off on. I mean, it's not like you can just start launching that shit into space and everybody's cool with it. I mean,
no, that's the beauty of it. A lot of this was not signed off on.
You can just start doing. I guess maybe it hasn't. Maybe you don't. Maybe there aren't rules about it.
Because there's no regulations on it. If you and I had a rocket and we get a patent, we could get approved. Because low Earth orbit is for everyone.
Pay enough folks to send your rockets to space. If you don't have your own.
Yes, 100%. If we had enough money to get a rocket license, we could launch something into space.
Then I guess the first person that can prove some detriment to start from Starlink messing with them can sue the crap out of Elon. I don't know. I mean,
it's one of those things where cat's out of the bag right now. I mean, you can't pull something out of space. I mean, you can, but you're not going to.
I mean, there was already so much junk in space. And now he's like adding like however many hundreds or thousands of freaking small satellites. I mean,
yeah,
there was already, I mean, and they track all that junk.
Yes, they do. I've got an app where I can see space junk. I love it.
It's fun. And so why not add some more, I guess? I guess when they get to the point of space junk recycling.
Yeah.
Right after they get to the you know, the big ocean plastic trash ball recycling.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, that big old thing that's floating off in the.
Well, they say it's like the size of Texas. I mean,
yeah, that's nuts, man. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Elon has done a lot of good things. I think what he's doing with Tesla is amazing. I think that's going to be a good for the world, a plus for the world.
Mm-hmm. The Starlink, though.
But here's the deal. You look at comic books, you look at movies, the most evil genius always looks like they're doing something good up front, right? That's how they get
right up until the big death ray.
Am I right? You know, the evil genius is the one handing out $100 bills.
Well, the way he keeps going on, he seems to be more concerned about getting to Mars. You know, like he saw Total Recall too much. You know, like get your ass to Mars. I mean, every time I've seen him talk in the last year or so, I mean, that's like all he talks so much about the importance of getting off world and being a multi-planetary species.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard anybody really talk too much about Starlink? Have you ever thought about that?
No, I mean, I followed it a bit. And you know, a lot of it's like, God damn, they're sending up another rocket full of these satellites. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, but again, I mean, there's such a tornado of shit going on every day. I mean, who's got time to talk about Starlink, you know?
Well, that's the thing. The last 4 years has been the best 4 years to try to get something over because
I mean, there's no regulations. Just have at it, you know?
Just do what you want to do.
So, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the potential downside of hundreds, if not thousands, of small satellite in low Earth orbit. Here's the thing. Like all the geniuses who have sat around trying to think about this thing or not think, trying to figure out how to do it. And whatever the big problem is going to be, it's going to be something like afterwards, everybody's going to like, oh my God, it was that, it was, birds that flew really high and had glossy wings and the sun reflected off that and effed up the Starlink. I don't know what it was. I don't know, but I mean, I was seeing some of the other things that were going on in Tesla land, because Elon moved to like Austin, Texas.
Yeah, there was too many regulations in California, so he said, "Peace."
Right. I assume the taxes. Him and Joe Rogan maybe got a duplex. I don't know. But
together.
Yeah. but like they're like because they're building like a huge factory in Austin.
Yeah, they are.
So I mean, and they've got several of these huge gigafactories going on now. It used to be like there was just the one, I think it was in Nevada or Utah or something, and it was a huge battery facility.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like at the time it produced more lithium-ion batteries than the entire world combined.
Yep.
And now there's like 5 gigafactories.
Yep.
Or something like that. Like China, Germany, UK, 2 or 3 here. But that was the one thing a non-Tesla but related. It was out of England, and it's called GridServe, and it's called the electric forecourt, which I think forecourt is their version of gas station.
Okay.
Because that's what it was. It was a great big electric gas station and recharging station. And it had like probably 12 recharging stations of different levels of capacity. And then it had, the actual Tesla superchargers, which I don't understand fully, but I do believe they are a more unique and special thing.
Okay.
But it was just its own facility. And the idea was that they did not bring in at all possible any coal energy to run the place. It was all from like they had like 2 or 3 big solar farms in the area.
And it was all kind of piped in.
Correct. And they had a battery that was again, I don't know my watts.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it sounded like a lot. And that was the battery storage there. And he's like, if we don't go through all the battery storage, we can put it back to the grid and then refill our batteries with new, energy from the wind turbines or the solar arrays. And then people can pull in, charge their car.
Mm-hmm.
It takes, maybe 15 or 20 minutes to charge your electric car. So you go inside, have a coffee. They have a coffee shop there.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a little small like restaurant, whatever. Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
And you're good to go. And you're good to go. But this is the whole this is the whole chicken and egg thing. Is the whole idea was chicken or egg? Who's going to build the cars when there's no refueling stations?
Right.
But who's going to build refueling stations if there's no cars? Right. Tesla did both, so that was nice. But for other companies outside of Tesla to start getting involved. And this is a company that they're not building cars, they're only doing this. You know what I'm saying? I think it just shows the steps. I mean, I really believe from all the little bits that I hear, I mean, 10 years from now, I mean, I don't know how many gas cars you'll be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ford, GM, every outfit is coming out with several electric cars. I mean, Ford is going to have an electric F-150. That is like the most popular vehicle sold.
That
In this country, that's the most popular vehicle sold by a margin. And so, I mean, that will be the big curious thing is that, all because so many of those folks that are into their trucks are not into electric vehicles at all. But when they're and Ford went out of their way to make it look just like a normal Ford F-150. It doesn't look any different. It doesn't look crazy like Cybertruck. It looks like a normal Ford, which is all they're trying to do is please just buy our truck just like you would normally buy our truck. It just happens to be electric. You're not going to notice any difference other than it'll be faster and you'll love that. And hooray. Because they know their market. They know that their customers do not want crazy Cybertruck. Most of them. But that they are getting into they're getting into electric vehicles with their flagship models. Dude, I mean that is what's coming. I mean, it's already here. It's just gonna be even more so. And then again, a more opportunity to invest in infrastructure and
So let me ask
things like that.
How is the American infrastructure going to change with the advent of electric cars? Are the roads going to need, and I honestly don't know the answer to this, are the roads going to need to be maintained differently?
I don't think they need to be maintained differently so much as that, maintain them at all. But I think with electric cars, the technology of the self-driving car, the autonomy, that's going to be such a big shift. And I don't know if it's going to be all good. I mean, at first you go, oh, that will so improve traffic because.
But will it though?
Well, that's kind of the curiosity, because like that accordion effect of traffic of, everybody kind of stops and then it kind of goes, but then not everybody goes and then it kind of stops and it does this shit. If you could get rid of that and everything is more efficient because it's all autonomous cars being run by computers that can handle things really efficiently, that seems good. But I don't know. I'm sure there's a downside somewhere. I don't know. I guess if everybody's doing that and all the cars are so darn autonomous that and efficient, I don't know what could possibly be the downside there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because in essence, all the cars would know the schedule of the red and green lights, right? If they're autonomous and they're all plugged.
Not necessarily the schedule, they react to them just like we do. They just react faster. I mean, they can react. Well, they can see a light change.
No. But follow me on this. If it's an autonomous car and it's a small car, and I'm driving down Burnside, and I'm on 28th, and there's a light on 20th, right? The autonomous car should theoretically know how many seconds until it turns red, yellow, or green. Because
I don't know that it's linked into this. I mean, I don't know that the system even operates like that to begin with, let alone that you could be linked into it to know when lights are changing from red to green.
That's kind of my thought. I mean,
I think that's my point. Is it the system is not even reading that. It's literally reading red, yellow, green. And it's,
and the cars around you.
yeah. I mean,
but is it that far of an additional step to think that it's not plugged into the city's traffic system?
Or I don't think the city's traffic system has that display like I've seen in Will Smith movies of what traffic lights are red, green, and yellow. I mean, I would love to see that display, but I don't believe it exists. I think the traffic system is so like a lot of the rest of our infrastructure. I don't believe it's all patched in like that. I just don't. Maybe it is. I would love to know for sure. But from what I would be aware of, the autonomous cars drive around with sensors that can detect things that are in motion. I mean, it has sonar, it has radar, it has infrared, it has HD. I mean, it has a lot better ways of seeing everything than we do, and it can react faster. So if it's just driving down the road, following the little dashes of the road on one side and the solid yellow line on the other, or whatever it is, and it just knows to stay in between the lanes, and it just cruises along, staying in between the lanes. And if there's a car in front, it sees that and it stays a little bit back of that car, depending on the speed. And then it sees the light ahead, or it sees a stop sign. It knows what it is. It recognizes what a stop sign is, and it stops. I mean, they've already demonstrated this. I mean, it's kind of awesome. And again, I want to emphasize, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be as good as the average human driver, which is pretty shitty. So if it's at least pretty shitty, right, then it's good enough. Because that's the thing. Folks seem to have this idea like, man, you know, we can't have autonomous cars until it's perfect. Why? I mean, Jesus, it just has to be as good as the shit show going on out there right now. And if you've driven in any kind of American traffic or anywhere in the world, I mean, dude, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. I drive like shit sometimes. And then some people just drive like shit all the time, I'm convinced. So, you know, I don't know. The automated, you know, and honestly, how fun is sitting in traffic? It sucks. It blows.
It really sucks.
Yeah. So if you could just be in your transport and get in and relax and eat and be on your phone and do whatever, and know that your ride is getting you there in as much safety or safer than you would normally be driving, why wouldn't you want to do that? Unless you just actually enjoy driving, then okay, fine. You know, then go enjoy driving. But I mean, and I've thought this since a long time ago, that gas cars will eventually be nothing but like kind of collector's items. I mean, there will be people that are like enthusiasts, but I mean, gas will become harder and harder to find. You know,
it's kind of like a car with a carburetor now.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just be more and more expensive. I mean, there won't be gas stations all over the place. It'll be electric stations, and you pull in with your gas can or with your electric or with your gas car to electric station, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" You know. So I think that is coming, and you know, one of the main ways is you know that it becomes cheap.
So in that world, do you see fossil fuels being phased out 100%? So if you look at, like, let me give you an example, a landscape company. Okay, so like
their leaf blowers and trimmers.
Yeah, like one of my good friends here in Charlotte owns a landscape company.
But why is it impossible that they could? I mean, it's all a matter of batteries, and batteries. There's been huge developments. What do they call them? Dry state batteries. I think that's what they're called. Solid state.
Solid state.
Yeah. The batteries are what it's all about. If the batteries if the batteries get to the point where they can handle a leaf blower or an edger for as long as a tank of gas. Again, it doesn't have to handle it for all day long. It just has to handle it long enough as like a normal tank of gas and be able to either be recharged or swapped out to a new battery that is a reasonable price battery to get them through the day, and then charge them up at night, and then hooray, you're done.
Right.
That's,
Does that spur on like a cottage industry of innovation? Because someone's going to have to create a battery powered leaf blower and a battery powered.
Well, they already have. I mean, those are already out there. They're not awesome, and I don't think that'll be cottage industry. That'll be Honda. That'll be the biggest players out there that are trying to figure that out. And they, like I said, they already have battery powered garden tools. They just kind of suck. I mean,
So I'm looking at on like an industrial scale, and a legit question that I don't know the answer to. Is that going to be early adopter or later? So like my buddy, he's got probably 50 trucks, 50 crews. I mean, he owns like a legit, like big landscape company. It's not like a mom and pop, like they service like corporate parks. He's got like 400 or 500 people that work for him, probably thousands of equipment, all kinds of equipment.
Yeah.
If I'm him and I'm looking at this from your, and you might not have all the answers. I'm just trying to spitball this. What does that look like? Because we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the country who might want to join on board with the Green New Deal, but is there a barrier to entry for them? Let's say you own.
Sure. So, okay, fine. If you can subsidize a goddamn farmer to not grow a fucking crop, then you can sure as shit subsidize somebody that's actually doing something,
right,
and get them some new vehicles and equipment.
Okay. So that's where you come down, is the government would help kind of jumpstart that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. That answers my question then, because I'm thinking if I'm that guy and I have invested over the years in all of this miscellaneous equipment, mowers, trimmers, leaf blowers, and all of these things that run on gas.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all fine. Don't get me wrong. You get some appreciable value. You don't just get handed shiny new equipment and say, good job for being an American. I mean, you can trade in your equipment and have it be worth some kind of reasonable value on new equipment. And I don't think, I mean, no one expects that it's going to be some shift of like the next day, everything is electric. Of course.
Right.
So, I mean, a big outfit like that, I mean, it may take some time. It may be, he has an existing fleet, but as he starts adding new vehicles, maybe those new vehicles are electric. As he starts adding new equipment, maybe that new equipment is electric instead of gas as that stuff gets better. That's probably how it would, because again, it's not like suddenly they're going to wake up on Monday morning and it's going to be, oh shit, let me reorder my entire fleet of vehicles. That ain't happening, but by the same time, I mean, Monday morning is not going to be the last time you ever see a gas station. So it's going to be incremental changes, but there can be big steps in those changes, and those big steps can be aided by the government. That's what it's for. It's not just to be raped and pillaged and plundered by.
So would you say a better use of that money would be to not subsidize those farmers, but to subsidize people in the?
I'm not even just picking on farmers. I mean, dude, I'll go back to the military.
Yeah.
What was it? $760 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing somewhere in there I could find some money.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. This is something that I haven't heard talked about anywhere, and I don't know if you know about this. So how does that affect airline travel? Do we have hybrid airplanes, or do we stick with the fossil fuel based airplane that goes
they'll have electric planes. Sure.
That have enough battery life to go from New York to LA.
Why not?
Now, I've heard something about that they've only been able to build hybrid or electric planes that are lightweight. They haven't been able to build them that can carry a lot of cargo.
They've only been able to do stuff until they can't do it, and then they can't do it, and then they do something else. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people,
right.
Dude, that's innovation. These are the American problems that Americans are supposed to solve. You know, this is supposed to be what we're good at. This is supposed to be the kind of stuff we pat ourselves on the back about and tell everybody why we're so much better than they are. And to be fair, we are really good at the electric vehicle thing right now. I mean, we're leaps and bounds ahead of even like, oh my God, Germany. I mean, and that's mind numbing because they're the engineer people.
Right.
And I don't mean to stereotype, but some stereotypes are nicer than others, I guess. But, you know, Germans got that going for them is engineering stereotypes. But that they lag behind America in electric vehicles is hilarious. But like, dude, Volkswagen, Audi, dude, you think they're going to be lagging on this shit? Hell no. Mercedes, they're all over this. I mean, yeah, they're a little late to the game. But dude, when they come out with all this stuff, like they're starting to already, I mean, you know, Tesla's had an awesome run, but then they've also been in that field of like no competition. You know, I mean, they dominated the competition and they dominated their entire field. And then they kind of have been just kicking ass ever since, which is awesome for them. But now they're going to finally have some like serious contenders. Although even with that, I mean, they're still ahead of the game. I mean, I think their battery technology, I think, is ahead.
Here's the thing, though.
Further ahead.
Dude, here's the thing. This is all it takes. So let's say you have a senior engineer at Tesla that makes $250,000 a year, and Ford says, "I'm going to double your salary," and you come over here and you tell me everything that they build in their batteries.
Oh, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, and you know that happens all the time, and I'm sure that's happened several times already. I mean, shoot, just that guy I mentioned, that Rich Rebuilds, his channel is awesome, and his whole thing is rebuilding. Well, his whole thing was like rebuilding Teslas, but he has a garage, and now he has like 3 of them called the Electrified Garage, and they resto mod, they take the, you know, cars that are gas cars and then take the gas engine out and put in an electric engine motor. That's a real popular thing to do now. So he has like 3 shops doing that, and like all his shops are run by, he used to be from Tesla. All of his people are from ex-Tesla people. And he's not building new cars. He's
retrofitting old cars.
Yeah, he's just a shop. You know what I mean? So when people like Ford are into it, and I don't know if you've seen like the Ford Mustang, the E Mustang, and then they have like I don't know what they call it, like the Mach E, I think is like the kind of race version of it. I don't know if you've checked that out at all.
See if I can pull it up.
The Ford Mustang Mach E. It will be a lot of drifting videos.
So the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach E starts at $42,895, and it looks really pretty.
Really? I want to make sure I'm talking about the right one, because this one is like straight up like race car looking thing.
Let's see here. All right.
There it is. I'm gonna look too.
Hold on. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing that now? Right there.
Oh, you're fancy. Yeah.
You like that?
Okay, but now
here it is right here.
That's okay. Though that's definitely the show model, or that's the one you can buy. There's one that's like, I don't know. It's like their crazy factory race car version. And it has like 1,400 horsepower. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, you know, I would drive that.
Yeah, that thing is pretty. I mean, look at that. You know, 44.
And I know like folks are like, oh my gosh, it's not a Mustang. It doesn't look like the normal Mustang. Like, yeah, no kidding. It doesn't look like a normal Mustang. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's
my whole thing with the electronic vehicles has been kind of that barrier to entry. You know, like at that price, even at 42 grand, right? That's like aimed at people like you and me, right? You know, we've got a couple incomes in the house, the income. You know, you can afford $600-700 car payment a month or whatever it might work out to be. But your average person who's making $45,000 a year, is there going to be an electronic vehicle that they can legitimately afford? You know,
because no, I think. Well, I mean, the cheapest Tesla right now is like 35.
Right.
Model 3.
But there's some people that like spend like $5,000 on a car. They go down to McLaughlin or
yeah, sure, fine. I mean, but there's some folks that ride the bus. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, but here's what I have to say. There's people that spend 35 grand on a Hyundai. So
no, absolutely.
If you're, I mean, and that's the view that I look at it from. If folks are willing to spend 35 grand on a Kia, and sorry for anybody out there owning a Kia. Mostly, I'm sorry that you own a Kia, because damn.
Some of those Kias are nice though.
No. I'm just saying, no, it's a Kia. And you know, if that baby was 15 grand brand new, okay, fine. You got me. But and don't get me wrong, I've seen some Fords and some Chevys and lots of other examples of some cheap crap. And I'm not just picking on Kias and whatever. Fine, I'll pick on Ford. If you're going to spend, I don't know, what a brand new like Ford Fiesta shitbox, I don't know. I mean, that's got to be damn near 20 grand. I would almost bet. And so, I mean, if you got 20 G's to spend on that craptastic piece of nothing, then, you know, you're not too far away from what is currently the cheapest electric car.
But
that's my point. Is that that's just currently the cheapest car. They're only getting cheaper.
So let me throw this at you. Let me throw this at you. Single person or newly married couple with the kid. There's a certain population that keeps 82nd Avenue and McLaughlin Boulevard employed. Buying cars.
Making a lot of local call outs here.
Right.
Not everybody's going to be savvy, you know.
Not everybody's going to be savvy, but everybody in every street everybody in every city in America has this one street. Here in Charlotte, it's Independence. You drive down Independence, it's just like McLaughlin in your town. There's car dealerships. There's new, used for miles and miles and miles, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that work for me don't have a brand new car. They drive a 2007 Ford Escape that they bought at the Buy Here, Pay Here. You guys don't have that in Oregon. We have a Buy Here, Pay Here where you get locally financed. You don't go through a bank like Johnny, the car dealership, finances you.
I think we do have that here.
Okay.
I've heard some
but
stuff.
You know, you go to the lot and you see it's $39.99 out the door and it's $4,000 and it's a car and it's great and it runs great and they do the, you know, but they're making payments on a $4,000 car.
Sure.
I don't think there's ever going to be a $4,000 electronic vehicle, right?
I think there will be.
You think, because I mean the battery.
So check it. You said ever. I'm saying before. Okay. I'm saying before ever. Yes, there will be.
Fair.
I mean, it's not happening overnight. This is what you got to wrap your brain around. Is it ain't happening overnight. It's not going to be January 1st. Everybody gets electric car. You get electric car. You get electric car. Oprah gets electric car. Everybody gets electric. It ain't going to be like that. I'm just saying that it's getting more as it gets to the point where it gets more standard, then more and more folks will have them. And
Fair.
yes, there will be some folks. I mean, it will get to the point where it won't be economically viable to have a gas-powered car, because even though you might pick one up for cheap, there's no place to go fill it up. You know,
Fair.
I mean, or if there is, the gas is $15 a gallon. You know, I mean, if gas, so here you go. If gas is $15 a gallon,
I'm not more.
And you've got your $3,500, you know, Broadway special,
right?
That's so super cheap, so much cheaper than an electric car. I get it, but gas is $15 a gallon. Oh no, what do you do? What do you do? I mean, that, you know, so it's not going to be some massive shift overnight, but I mean, fuck, it's been going on for 15 years already.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. So what's the catalyst that's going to tip it over to make, so if you look at like a percentage, right? If you look at a pie chart of gas-powered cars purchased per year versus electronic vehicles purchased per year, what do you think it is? 85-15%?
I think it's just going to continue. You know, I don't think it'll be.
No, I mean, but what do you think it is now? What do you think it is in 2020? 5-15? 96? Am I in the right ballpark?
For the entire nation, or do you mean like
for
Portland?
The entire nation.
Yeah. Okay.
No, for the entire nation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. EVs are probably like 5% of the cars, maybe.
Right. So,
maybe if that.
So it's 90. So it's 95.5. What's going to be the catalyst that's going to get it closer to 50-50?
Well, one way to make it happen would be to take some initiative with a new administration and get some shit done. That would make it happen a lot faster. That would be your catalyst. Mm-hmm. Short of that happening, I don't think there will be any big catalyst so much as it will be the supply and demand of the market. And as more and more manufacturers get involved, that will drive the price down. As more and more folks buy them, that might drive the price up a little bit. But the whole idea of all the other manufacturers getting involved is to produce cars. I mean, dude, everybody wants to produce an electric Toyota Corolla.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you this.
That's what the Model 3 essentially is.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's about the same price. And I mean, it sells like hotcakes. You know?
You said something at the beginning of the show that Americans have a memory of a goldfish. And I think
I don't remember.
Yeah, there you go. And I think also something that Americans have that's a flaw is they want everything to be convenient.
Well, I mean, I think electric cars are ridiculously convenient, especially.
Well, here's the thing. Like I told you, in your part of the country, they are, right? They are extremely convenient in your part of the country. Where I live, if you don't live in the center city, there is no place for you to fuel up an electronic vehicle.
I get that. And I mean, you know, like J.R. Ryder said, go 20 miles outside of where I live. It ain't the same place. And EVs may not be as easily accessible and I get all that. But like this company I was talking about in the UK, when somebody like that, you know, when an Arco or what's a southern gas station chain?
QT.
All right, there you go. When suddenly they start not just having a couple of electric stations, but like, you know, the entire thing is electric,
right?
You know, or more of them.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's going to be little increments. You know, but I mean, I think a big step along the way is Ford producing the F-150 as an electric vehicle.
Right.
That's humongous.
I don't disagree.
That's the biggest selling vehicle in the country now being electric.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever driven one of those?
An electric vehicle or
no, a Ford F-150 or a Chevy Silverado?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, those things are ridiculously huge. So
I
had a rental car for about a week and a half, and we had a Chevy Silverado. And it's like, I see why people are like jackasses in those things. You're like invincible when you're behind the wheel of that thing.
King of the road.
Big, it's loud. It's
that's what's fun about what's coming is, Cybertruck is like 20 something feet long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's bigger than a Suburban.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's when there's another company called Rivian. They're out of Detroit. They bought, I believe they bought a Mitsubishi plant that was mothballed, and now they're making a cool pickup truck. That is, here we go.
How about
That's Cybertruck. So good. But check out Rivian if you're able to. It's Rivian, I believe.
Look at that thing.
I'm stoked on that one too. Don't get me wrong.
That looks like a Mars truck or something. Like,
of course it does, dude. That dude is so about Mars and everything about it.
Like, that thing is just nuts.
It's kind of a love or hate. I love it.
I think it looks pretty cool. Here it is actually on the street.
Oh yeah, Jay Leno drove running around. I mean,
like, it's a legit pickup truck. I thought it was like an SUV, but it's a pickup truck.
No, it's a pickup. It's got
there
that, and there's like a steel cover over the bed.
Yeah, look, this is like a where'd it go?
No.
Okay. There it is. Look at that thing.
Badass. And there you got the look, I'm pointing. Yeah, the semi.
It's autonomous.
Well, it's electric semi. That's that and autonomous part, yes. But the electric semi part is really wild. I believe there was a rapper that got to have the Cybertruck in their video.
Oh, really?
Travis Scott?
Travis Scott. Oh, he's a Kardashian.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Maybe that was his in. But
Look
he got
this.
Badass, right?
Yeah, that is pretty
I mean,
badass.
come on.
Look at that right there. Like, if I was driving down the street, I'd probably be a little fearful.
Dude, you would love driving down the street in that thing.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? I'd drive that thing all day long and twice on Sunday.
But, I mean, you could check, if you get a chance, check out Rivian. They're they're a contender. It's kind of neat.
Is it Riven?
Rivian. And their truck does a neat thing where it can spin in a circle because the wheels will spin like tank wheels. Like the two on the left will go one way and the two on the right will go the other, and it'll just spin. That's kind of fun.
That looks pretty cool.
There you go. That is being, I believe, made in Detroit. And like I said, out of an old Mitsubishi plant that they bought, which is pretty cool.
And this is 100% electric, right?
Yeah. And I believe
there's a Kia sign for you.
Yeah, girl Kia. Hey, super. Yeah. I mean, this is what's coming. This is what's here. I mean, they're already on the way, and they're already here. I think that's badass. And the biggest thing is charging it? Can you charge it at your house? Can you charge it on the road somewhere? And
here you go. It's charging right there.
Yeah, and that's the biggest hurdle, I think. Like you were mentioning, you're exactly right. Being able to overcome, I'm on a road trip and I need to refuel. Nobody wants that. But as the infrastructure starts getting built, and oh my God, if the government maybe got involved with helping that, that would be amazing. I mean, again, you would usher in the whole new era. You'd put some people to work building shit.
Right. So part of the thing is, like, with these electronic vehicles, they show like people camping and people going to the beach. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is, where the hell are you going to refuel that thing if you're camping? Like, I've got I'm bored.
But they're talking like 350-mile range now.
True.
So, I mean, just like camping. You were driving. We didn't get there yet. We got to refuel, drive some more, and then we're there, Similar.
But at the same time, in a gas-powered vehicle, I know pretty much everywhere I go, every 100 miles or so, there's going to be a place for me to get gas.
No, that right there could possibly be part of a Green New Deal, where you put people to work building new infrastructure, or I don't know, you give a subsidy to a company to build freaking recharging stations throughout the country, or good old American capitalism. Somebody just does it because they see the demand and invest. But I mean, there didn't used to be gas stations all over the place.
No, this is very true.
Right? There were horses.
Yeah. But I think we would both agree that big oil is evil, but that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day.
I love my oil burning car. I mean, but I see the future, and it's going to be electric. It's going to be sweet.
Oh, now Porsche has a 911 GT3 prototype that's electric now.
Well, they also have the Taycan.
Yeah.
Which is electric. You should check that out if you're not familiar. It's the Taycan Turbo S, which is kind of silly because there's no turbo. But it's called the Turbo. So that's kind of weird because there's no turbos.
Interesting. Because it's
electric.
It's electric. So
there's no turbos.
It's just there to make you feel good, right?
It's just there to sound fast.
Yeah.
But it's crazy fast, so
yeah, I bet. Yeah, man. I have a lot of hope for the future, to be completely honest. And I mean, you got little kids just like I got little kids. And I want my kids to grow up in an America and in a world where they got clean air, they got clean water, they can go outside, they can do what they want. Both of my kids are a little bit asthmatic, so that kind of worries me. But I also want this thing to be inclusive of everybody. And I think the biggest divide we have now as a country are the have and the have-nots. And I don't want that to go understated, because there's people like right now in my city tonight that don't have enough to eat, and I always try to balance, like, what's the most important. But I also like to look at the long game, So I think we have to find a way to, and it might come down to government subsidies, like you said, because there's people that are sleeping outside, sleeping under a bridge, because they legitimately cannot afford a place to live. And if those people get a place to live and they want to go and get a vehicle, I don't see how in the next 10 years they're going to be able to afford a fully electric vehicle.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to afford any vehicle. I mean, those folks.
So here's my point. You can go down the street. You can go down
in a spot
and get $1,000 car. Like right now, like about 2 miles from me, there's a buy here, pay here lot where you can legitimately get $1,000 car. It's 15 years old, but it runs,
Fine. And in 15 years from now, I bet you will be able to go down to the lot and get yourself an electric vehicle for a few grand in 15 years.
So
get back to me in 15 years, I mean,
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So I think that the problem that a lot of people, and I hear it from the people here in Charlotte, the problem that I hear from a lot of people is that there are probably 10 things ahead of this if we're looking at stuff that we want the government to fix or to have a hand in fixing, right? This is important. This is important to people who I think can afford it versus people who can't afford it. There's probably 10 other things in line,
Well, I mean, a few points to that. One, the government can do lots of things at one time. So that's nice.
Yeah, also, we need the government to be able to walk and chew gum. I get it.
Yeah, but I don't think this is just like, oh, only wealthy people can afford electric cars, and that's the end of it. I mean, I just don't think that's viewing the whole thing. That, like I say, in 15 years from now, I'm pretty sure that broke folks will be able to go down to the corner lot and get a cheap ass electric car. Similarly, when cars first came out, pretty sure you couldn't go down to the corner store and buy a used car for super cheap relative to whatever the time was. Yeah, I mean, that is just the nature of new things and old things. I mean, so I'm not proposing some socialist utopia of we all suddenly get equaled out. I ain't proposing that. I'm not. What I am proposing is that there is no good reason that it cannot be done. That there's every good reason for it to be pushed. And just because there are people that are broke and can't afford a new car, hi, I'm one of them. I don't have any new cars either. I get that idea. It doesn't mean that we can't try to make a better thing just because not everybody can afford that one thing instantly at that moment,
No, you're right. And to back you up on that, most new things that are really good for society are not affordable to everybody in society. They build it, they innovate on it, and then the price comes down to make it better for everybody. So I get what you're saying.
Well, and that's supposed to be the capitalistic dream. And I'm willing to shade on the socialistic side of that, where I, advocate for, subsidies, whether it's subsidies for people to buy an electric car in the first place. I'm interested in that idea. I'm interested in the idea of companies that were fossil fuel dependent to somehow be shifted over to electric or other renewable energies for their base. I'm all about that. I'm all about the grid itself, being more reliant and being even completely reliant on anything other than burning coal. And just because China burns coal doesn't mean that we can't try to be better than China. I mean, there's tons of good things to be doing. And while none of those things directly put food into a starving person's mouth, they're still worth doing.
That's fair. Yep, I'm with you. Good discussion, man. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I mean, we've just been stuck in a rut for so damn long that it's evident that rut is not working. And so, time to try something new. That's all.
Well, and then in closing, I'll say it like this: the last 4 years, we have operated on. We are going to line the pockets of people who have money, and that's what's been happening in the last 4 years. We broke
longer than 4 years, but sure.
No. I'm with you. But it's been exemplified.
On steroids, you know.
Yes, it's been exemplified in the last 4 years.
Yeah,
the rich have gotten richer, and the rich have had restrictions and regulations moved out of their way so they can get richer and richer.
Yep.
I think we need to go into a phase in the next 4 to 8 years, or however long it is, where we have people building things, making things, competing against each other, and let the best product win. If it's not Tesla, if it ends up being Ford that comes out with the best electric vehicle, then so be it. You know, I always operate on, I don't care who wins, as long as the person who wins has something that's good. You know, it might end up being Kia that comes out with the battery that can run 500 miles on a charge, and that's what we buy. To me, it doesn't matter what the nameplate is. It's that the technology is for the good of the greater society. And I know that sounds kind of Pollyanna, but if you look at things that have been innovative in American history, they've usually been towards the good. Now they're lining the pockets of somebody, and somebody is Scrooge McDuck taking a bath in $100 bills. But at the same time, the end product has worked out well for everybody else.
But that right there is the incentive to get it done in the first place, is that there's that opportunity to, you know, the Shark Tank opportunity, you know, that you're going to make it big. And because not everybody is in it for some altruistic, I'm here to make the world a better place.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be. You can be here to make money, and that's awesome too. But if you're making money at the expense of burning the place down, then, you know, time out. Then we gotta talk.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of where it seems like it has settled in, as that the folks that make the most money keeping it the way things are, I mean, they're not inclined to do anything different. Why would they? Yeah.
Right. Well, look at Amazon. Amazon is huge, right? Walmart. Let's just take Amazon, for example. Amazon sells things at a cheaper price, and they'll deliver it to you for free. Right?
Well, free.
Say that. Well, yeah, free. You're paying for it, but they're money around, so it appears to be free. Walmart sells things for a much cheaper price, cheaper than your mom and pop store. Home Depot, right, sells tools and things that are much cheaper than your local price. They take a loss on the overall price of the item, and they make it bulk, where your local hardware store can't do that because they don't do the same amount of volume.
For sure.
Some people say that's evil. I don't necessarily see it as evil, because I see it as these people built a company that people want to deal with because their prices are affordable. Now, I don't ever want to overlook the mom and pop shop being put out of business and their livelihood taken from them. But at the same time, if the guy who owns Amazon built a better mousetrap, should he be penalized for that?
Possibly, if his better mousetrap is built upon not paying taxes and exploiting like slave labor, yes.
Okay. I'm talking about just the entity itself.
And so am I, because Amazon as an entity pays shit all for taxes. I don't agree with that. And Home Depot as an entity, maybe not slave labor, but you know, and fuck, Amazon's labor. I'm sure, I've never worked there, but would you want to work in a processing plant? Because damn, I wouldn't. Well, maybe. I mean, if they paid you good, then okay, maybe.
We've got a pretty large Amazon plant here in Charlotte by the airport, and they pay pretty good.
Again, it's all relative to the pay. If you get paid good enough, I mean, you can kick me in the balls. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, they make significantly more than the minimum wage.
Then
like people want to go work at the Amazon plant because they get paid well.
Then there you go. See, I mean, there's your supply and demand. There's the market. There's capitalism. That's America.
But they've put all the mom and pop shops out of business, though.
But they've also created a lot of new mom and pop shops. I mean, think of all the people that sell on Etsy, and ship on Amazon. I mean, I don't know. I would have more beef with Home Depot than Amazon, simply, because Home Depot squeezes all their suppliers and or has all their suppliers based out of China who, I mean, dude, if you're getting supplied out of China, you're automatically saying slave labor is okay with me. And I mean, we all say that it's kind of okay because we all buy shit from China. So we just are saying that it's okay to a certain point. You just are. I am too. And it kind of sucks. But people vote with their dollar, and if you make it cheaper, then they're willing to overlook a lot of stuff, it turns out.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. I would like to see, things like, I mean, like I say, yes, Amazon's created a monster because they're really successful, but then we also allow them to be even more successful by giving them benefits that nobody else will get.
Right, exactly.
And I don't see how that's quite the level playing field, America capitalism, that I've heard about.
This. When is the last time you've been in an Uber or a Lyft?
I don't think I've ever done it. Oh, wait, no, I did do. It's been a few years, but I think I was in Vegas once and I did it with somebody else.
So
not often.
Right. Let's say you were going to go from your house in the suburbs and you were going to go downtown. I have both Uber and Lyft on my phone. I have memberships or logins for both. Now, there is a thought out there that one of them treats their employees better than the other one. Right? So if I'm going from my house to downtown, it's about $6 ish, depending on the time of day. So if I look at my phone and I look at Uber, and Uber is always a little bit more expensive. So it's like $7.71 versus $6.41 on the other, right? And I'm looking at the average American, the average consumer. They're probably going to choose the one that's cheaper, right? You're going from point A to point B, and one is $1.50 more than the other one. And it's not like you're getting in a car. It's not like you're getting any better service or you're getting anything different. You're going to choose the one that's cheaper, irrespective of the way in which the parent company treats that specific driver. Would that be safe to assume?
Most folks, although I would bet that there are folks in this town that are quite principled on, oh no, I only take Lyft because Uber screws their drivers or something. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Let's just go broad country.
But most folks probably know they don't follow that and they go, whatever, give me the cheap one.
So then let's take that to Hobby Lobby, right? I go on to Hobby Lobby's website and I want to order some paint and some easels and some canvases for my daughter because she likes art. And I put everything in the cart and it comes up to $100. And then I say, for giggles, let me go to Amazon. And I put everything in the cart in Amazon and it comes up to $89, right? This is a real world example because I'm shopping. So it's the exact same things, same brand, same quantity, same quality.
But Hobby Lobby's all shitty because they're all crazy, right? So you don't want to support them.
Well, let's say it's not Hobby Lobby. Let's say it's somebody else. But Amazon is $11 cheaper.
Yep.
Shipping's free. if I order it from Hobby Lobby, I'm paying $101, and then I'm paying $6.95 for shipping, right? So what do? I think most people are going to go, Amazon's cheaper. It's going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah. That's no, you know, your morals last only so long until, you know, it's Black Friday and then you punch a bitch to get a cheap TV. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
So no, I mean, you can be principled, but my opinion is principled people usually have disposable income where that $11 doesn't matter to them.
Well, your principles are all fine until you get pushed up against a wall and you have to really decide. And then you go, right. Then my principles don't really mean that much.
You know, because at the end of the day, I want these 36 markers, and I want this easel, and I want these canvases, and I want the paint, right? I'm not thinking of worldview and, you know, whoever is putting my item into a basket and putting it into a box, how they're being treated. I'm looking at it like I'm going to save $11 by going with this specific company over this company. I'm getting the same thing. Now, if there was a difference in quality and this is a knockoff brand and this is a name brand, sure, I'll pay more for the name brand. But when it's the exact same thing,
no, you're gonna. I get it.
Bringing it to me, you know,
cheap and convenience. I mean, that's
and I think a lot of people are making decisions like that, and they're saying, if I can save $5 here and $11 here, I'm going to do it. Now, big picture, you're probably supporting China, and you're probably supporting, you know, people who are, you know, not being abused, but they're making minimum wage. They're not able to feed their families. Blah blah blah.
Which some could argue is abuse, but you know, whatever.
You know? So I think until we solve those type of issues, it's going to be harder to push forward that more progressive agenda, because I think people do most of their decision makings with their wallet and their bank account, and they are going to take the path that is less harmful to them at that moment versus what might be better for the greater good. And I would have never thought this way living in Portland. It's only since I moved to the South that I've seen this on a wide scale where people have that thought. In Portland, people are like, I'm going to go to X coffee shop and I know my cup of coffee is going to cost $1 more, but I know these beans come from a sustainable farm.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and nobody thinks like that back here. Very few people think like that back here. And people are going to say, I'm going to buy a Subaru because it's better for the environment, or I'm going to buy this brand of shoes. Back here, people are saying, what's the cheapest? What's the highest quality at the lowest price? And I don't care if a little kid in China has one arm strapped behind his back, packing the box. I'm going to save $5, so I'm going to get this.
Well, but I think to a point, we all say that when we buy our phones. So whatever. I mean, and then I guess some folks feel guilty enough for that they'll go pay an extra $1 for their coffee to try to offset how bad they feel about buying their phone. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I mean, if people have some disposable income and they can buy their way out of their conscience, then they will, and they'll feel better about their life and, you know, feel like, oh, well, this excuses my gigantic house, my expensive car, and, you know, my completely over consuming way of life because I bought fair trade coffee. So we're good, right? I don't know if that's worse than just saying, I don't give a shit at all. I don't care. I don't pretend to care. I don't care. I don't know which one's better. I do think, though, that some folks are genuine in wanting what they believe is a better environment for, you know, for the food that we eat, the way that it's raised, the way that the people that are involved in raising it, how they're treated, how they're compensated. People do believe in that. And, yes, it's unfortunate. It's a smaller percentage of the overall population of the country. Okay, fine. I agree with that. But at the same time, while some may view it as a get out of morality jail free card by buying free trade coffee, hey, I've watched factory farm videos.
Dude, I've been to the slaughterhouse on Swan Island.
I'm just saying there's a certain part of that that's good to know what's going on. There's a certain part of that where it's kind of like with politics. You don't always want to see how the sausage is made because,
right.
Yeah. But I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting it to be better, a better system, whatever, a better product, and whether that's virtue signaling because you get a special wrapper on your coffee cup or whatever. Okay, fine. And if not everybody can afford it, I think that is more of a issue and problem of many other things, and that's a symptom that good food is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's a symptom of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is wrong that it is. And I think that it's awesome that people want it to be better, that, while some people are, stuck up in chauvinistic, or not chauvinistic, but stuck up in whatever elitist about it. I think others genuinely want good food to be able to be available for everyone.
Right.
Not just expensive.
The thing is what's so striking to me and my transition to being a Southerner was realizing that when I lived in Portland and I looked at the way other people did things in other part of the country, I was like, I can't believe people don't understand the way that I think. I can't believe that people are doing X, Y, and Z. And, I kind of grew up in that kind of bubble, let's call it, right? And when I came to the South, there's a similar bubble that they're like, those kooks on the West Coast, I can't believe they do this. And I'm kind of like, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. And they're like, you must be from there because nobody around here thinks like that. And when you're in Portland, nobody around here thinks like that. And there's a divide.
For sure. And and that's...
And I live in a place where it's kind of 50-50. Depending on where you go in the city, the more urban areas, the more progressive areas of you're going to get that thought. And the further you get away from uptown, the further you get out into the country where you start to see more trees and buildings, you start to see a different way of thinking.
And that's
that's the same where you live, but the difference is more stark here. It's
and I get it. It's Portland. We're pretty far off the scale compared to most places. I get that. And so there is that same dynamic that once you get outside of Portland, it gets a lot more like a lot of the rest of the country. And it's a bigger shift because you're like, wow, that stands out a lot because you go from, Portland to anything else other than Portland. And it usually stands out unless you go to like Frisco or Seattle. That's the only place you're like, oh, wow, there's places that are just like Portland, but bigger. And it's, I've been to other parts of the country and I get it. Not everybody thinks the same way, or if they do, they all move here. But at the same time, I think ultimately folks have a lot of similar ideas, even if they don't necessarily know it at the time. But I think if you actually sat down with folks and talked to folks, regardless of where they're from, that there are truths that everybody operates under, that they want a healthy, happy, prosperous life for them and their family.
Yep, agreed.
And yes, there's variants of that. And yes, some people are bitter dick assholes about it and only want those good things for their family and piss on everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, so, but overall, I think for the most part, folks just want those things for themselves. And they generally want that for everybody else too. As long as it doesn't ruin their day, they're fine with everybody else having the great same opportunity that they have. But when it's evident that there's huge disparity, then you know that you either got to get distracted or folks work to change it. So yeah, and electric cars are not saving the world. They're a neat step
but they could
well, I mean, it's a step in the same. It's part of an overall picture of.
Well, look at it this way.
Well, the way I look at it is this: like, if you were able to put solar panels on your roof that had a battery backup in your garage, that battery backup that your solar panels on your roof charges that battery charges your entire house as well as your cars. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's awesome. That to me is future living. And that is not necessarily, only the rich elites can live like that. No, there's no reason on earth. Well, there are reasons why it's not happening, but there's no good reason why it can't happen.
Can you put that on apartments?
Why not? I mean, apartments got roofs. Everything's got a roof. And even if it doesn't, oh my gosh, there's big wide open tracts of land that doesn't have shit on it that you could put solar panels on and then through a series of tubes, ship that energy to wherever the shit you need it. It's just, I don't know. It seems like it's such a huge step, but at the same time, these little steps are happening along the way. And yes, unfortunately, I think it's not available to everybody. I wish it was, but I think hopefully, I've never believed in trickle down anything. But I think that I think as time goes by, it will become more commonplace, and the technology will, hell, I think it's probably being held back in a lot of reasons because, I mean, imagine that if everybody's able to put solar panels on their roof, like instead of shingles on your roof, they're solar panels. They're not some weird big array that is 10,000 pounds of extra weight on your roof. It's just they make these now. Their roof panels, your shingles are solar panels. If every house had that and everybody was off the grid, although that's the new grid now. But that's the problem, is that everybody could sustain their own energy. And then, oh my gosh, who do you pay? We can't have that. You got to pay somebody something every month, right? And that's the thing. It's not like we don't know how to do this shit. It's just that the will to do it versus the will to not do it, because the entrenched system is like, wait a minute, you're about to cut us out completely. We know like that, and we control a lot of this, so we're going to stop it from happening until they can figure out how to get in on the action, I guess. But anyhow.
Yep. That might be a good place to stop. We've been going about 3 hours.
Yep. You know what? I did want to run this one. I got to, just because, and we can, and you can give me the answer, the follow up, like at the next episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ready? And like I said, you can give me the answer later, because it might be like its whole. This could be like a whole episode. Just ready?
Yes.
Do you eat while shitting? Just that you had to think about it makes me think, yes, you do.
I mean, I have before. I mean, yeah, I have before. I don't, but I have before, yes. Yeah. Well, you remember this. Remember this. When I lived in that house on 16th, I had a beer keg in my bathtub for months.
I do recall that.
And
did you like just sit? Did you just sit and take a shit and like drink beer?
Yeah, you know, I took a shower with that thing in there.
Oh,
yeah. But I have to say, since I got married and had kids, the answer is no.
Well, you know,
but we can explore that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, you tell the missus, hey, I was thinking about a snack tray in the shitter.
Something about that is so wrong. Like,
I agree, but you know, whatever. I wanted to get your hot take.
Yeah, I mean, I have been drinking a beverage or a cup or something and taking it in the bathroom with me. I've done that. But
now,
like,
I mean, is that like holding it while you're taking a piss, or is that more involved?
Think about like the last time you went to a Blazer game or you went to a soccer game. If you went into the pisser,
yeah,
with you set it right on the urinal. You do your.
No, I don't. No, I don't set it.
Most people do though, right?
No, I one hand it.
You hold it and you one hand it.
Yes, but right. I don't want to set. I don't want to set it down. That's gross.
But it's still in there with you.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying, and I think that's gross too. But
right,
go for it. But when you've been drinking, you kind of get over those things.
You still take it in with you.
Yeah. Right? Well, or you finish it on the way in. That's kind of my route. I kind of go, oh, let me down this. Then I'm going to go into where people go poo.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's nobody going to a ball game now, but the next time I do go to a ball game, I'm going to watch. But I see people standing in line. They walk in.
Yeah.
They set it down, pick it up, and go on. Right?
I believe it.
I can only imagine there's particles invisible floating in the air that land in your drink.
Probably.
Right? I'm guilty of that too. I've walked right in, taken my drink with me, set it down, done my business, picked it up, washed my hands, and go.
Well,
haven't taken food onto the toilet in probably 20 years.
Okay. Like a nice slice of pizza or something, and
I can't sit here and say I've never done it, but it's been at least 20 years since I've done that.
Might be time to fire up some old traditions. Is it making you nostalgic? Thinking like, man, I could really go for like scrolling through some stuff on the phone and a nice slice.
I should just go get the beer keg, put it back in the shower, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Those were the days, right?
Well, that was my cultural question of the evening. So there you go.
We're gonna have to ask some friends and neighbors about that and see what they say.
Do a poll.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a poll. So, all right,
man.
Have a good night.
You too, and everybody out there, have a great
time. Hey, remember, if you're watching this, you're a hero. Like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications, YouTube stars. Everybody needs to hear our conversation. Do it, do it, do it. All right. See ya.
Nighty night.